The phone gave a single buzz on the kitchen counter. One harmless vibration that sliced through the stillness like a blade. My arms were buried in dishwater, scrubbing the lasagna pan from the dinner Sarah had barely touched. When the screen lit up with her name, the message was short, almost offhand. Crashing at Jenna's tonight. Project ran late. Don't wait up. 17 minutes after that, the world split open. I remember the exact moment because I just glanced at the stove clock. 9:47 p.m. A small, familiar comfort washed over me. Another night alone, fine, but at least she was safe. Jenna lived 20 minutes away with decent traffic. I imagined them bent over their laptops, laughing about some spreadsheet hiccup, the way Sarah once laughed with me. I dried my hands, poured a little bourbon, and sank onto the couch, waiting for the house to stop feeling hollow. At 9:58, my phone chimed again. This time, it was a location snapshot from our shared tracking app, the one we installed after her car died last winter. Sarah's little blue dot hovered unmoving in the parking garage of Meridian Towers, the glass high-rise where her firm rented the 12th floor. Not Jenna's warm duplex in Maple Ridge? Nowhere near. My pulse tripped. I zoomed in, thumb shaking. The dot hadn't moved in 4 minutes. I refreshed. Still there. Again. Same spot. I called her, straight to voicemail, that bright, rehearsed greeting. "Hi, you've reached Sarah." I hung up and texted her. "Everything okay?" No typing bubbles. No read receipt. Just the cold glow of the screen. I tried to give myself reasons. Maybe Jenna had picked her up. Maybe they stopped by the office to grab something she forgot. But the bourbon soured in my mouth, and the quiet house tightened around me like a snare. Shoes, keys. I drove. The city was a smeared watercolor of rain and neon. Traffic lights bled red across the windshield. At every intersection, I built explanations and tore them down again. Sarah had never lied about work. Not once in 8 years. She'd skipped our anniversary dinner for a client deadline and apologized with tears. She texted from the hospital when her dad had his stroke. She had said, "Jenna's? It was Jenna's." But that blue dot mocked me from Meridian Towers. I parked 2 blocks away, pulled my hood up against the drizzle, and watched the lobby. 10:29. A security guard checked his phone. A courier rolled in pizzas. No Sarah. I walked to the garage entrance, my heartbeat loud enough to swallow the rain. 3rd level, her usual spot. There was her silver Civic. Driver's door cracked open, dome light spilling yellow across the concrete. I moved closer. The front seats were empty. In the back, a single high heel lay toppled like a casualty. I knew that shoe. Black suede, tiny gold buckle. She wore them to my sister's wedding. My stomach lurched. I reached for the back door, expecting an alarm, but it opened without a sound. Her purse sat on the floor mat, lipstick rolling loose. The first thing I smelled was her perfume, jasmine and something warmer, followed by the sharp trace of a man's cologne. Her blazer was crumpled on the seat, and beneath it lay a navy tie I didn't recognize. I froze. Rain dripping from my hair, the tie dangling from my hand like evidence. Above me, the 12th floor glowed behind tinted windows. I pictured her up there, laughing the way she used to with me. Only now, that laugh belonged to someone else. I wanted to storm the elevator, hammer on every door until I found them. Instead, I sank onto the curb, tie knotted in my fist, and cried like a child discovering what darkness really is. Time blurred. Headlights swept past. Someone asked if I needed help. I waved them on. Eventually, I drove home. The tie sat on the passenger seat like a sleeping serpent. The house greeted me with stale lasagna and the tick of the wall clock. 1:13 a.m. I poured more bourbon but didn't drink it. I sat at the kitchen island and opened the shared laptop. Her calendar was still synced. Tonight's entry read, "Jenna, finalize Q4 projections." I checked the recurrence. Same block every Thursday for 6 weeks. Then I checked our credit card. Last month, $186 at the Vine, a wine bar 2 blocks from Meridian Towers. The month before, $74 at the same place. I'd assumed girls' nights. I even told her to expense the cab. I opened our joint checking. 3 days ago, a new charge. $420 to H. Caldwell Consulting. Mark Caldwell, the guy from the holiday party, the one who slid his hand to the small of her back when he thought I wasn't watching. I'd laughed it off. Sarah rolled her eyes and said he was harmless, ambitious. The numbers smeared. And then I did what I swore I'd never do. I checked her deleted photos. Only one file remained. A recovery thumbnail stamped 9:51 p.m., 4 minutes after her text to me. I opened it. A selfie in the dim reflection of an office window. Sarah's hair down, lips parted mid-laugh. Behind her, Mark's arm wrapped around her waist, his mouth near her ear. The city glittered below them, indifferent. Her eyes were bright, alive in a way I hadn't seen in months. I must have made a sound. The neighbor's dog started barking. I closed the laptop. The image seared itself into me. I finally drank the bourbon. It burned without comfort. I wandered the house, touching things we'd chosen together. Slate coasters from our honeymoon. The framed Grand Canyon photo where she kissed my cheek, her hair whipped by wind. Every object felt like a lie I'd helped craft. 7 a.m. Headlights rolled across the driveway. A car door. Soft heel clicks on brick. The front lock turned. Sarah stepped inside, hair damp, cheeks flushed. She startled when she saw me at the island, the tie coiled beside the untouched glass. "Dan?" Her voice cracked. "Why are you still up?" I couldn't speak. I pushed the tie toward her. She stared at it, then at me, and something in her face collapsed. "It's not," she began, then faltered. The silence thickened, heavy as the perfume still clinging to her. 17 minutes, I said. My voice was gravel. "You texted me from Jenna's. 17 minutes later, your car was in the garage and you were—" I couldn't finish. Her knees wobbled. She grabbed the counter, her blazer slipping from one shoulder. "I didn't want you to find out like this." The words hit harder than any blow. Not I didn't mean for this to happen. Not I'm sorry. Just regret about the manner of discovery. "How long?" I asked. She looked at the floor. Months. While I planned a surprise weekend in Asheville. While I asked if she wanted to start trying for a baby. While I fell asleep beside her breathing and thought it meant we were okay. "I love you," she whispered. But it sounded like a child bargaining with the dark. I stood. The chair scraped loudly, rattling the windows. "You don't lie to someone for 4 months and call it love." She reached for me. I stepped back, the tie brushing my knuckles. "I need you to leave tonight," I said. "Take whatever you can carry. I'll pack the rest. Dan, please, now." She moved like she was underwater, collecting her purse, keys, blazer. At the door, she paused, hand on the frame. "I never wanted to hurt you." The door closed softly behind her. I stood in the sudden quiet, the house releasing 8 years of shared breath. Outside, her car started, hesitated, then drove off. I waited until the sound disappeared before sliding down the cabinets onto the cold tile. The navy tie hung from my fingers like a promise I hadn't realized was already broken. Dawn crept gray through the blinds. I hadn't slept. The lasagna pan sat crusted in the sink, a small domestic corpse. I loosened the tie and placed it on the counter beside her abandoned coffee mug. Lipstick still on the rim, the shade she wore the night she told me I was her home. I picked up my phone. The location app still tracked her blue dot, now crawling south on the interstate. I watched it shrink toward a future I no longer belonged to. Then I turned off the screen, dropped the mug in the trash, and started coffee. Alone. The first sip burned, but I swallowed it anyway. Somewhere between the second and third, the tremors faded. The tie went into a drawer I'd never open again. And when the sun finally rose, casting gold over the empty chair where she used to sit, I understood something. Some betrayals don't end in shouting or slammed doors. They end with the soft click of a lock, the receding glow of taillights, and the slow, irreversible understanding that when trust shatters, its shards are too fine to ever gather back.